With that, I want to let you know that you are actually in session number 15, which is titled Partnering with Families to Support Learning at Home Through Navigating Technology. And I just want to turn it over to the experts from the Metro School in Columbus, Ohio, Mr. Tim Latta and Ms. Krista Miller. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to go ahead and jump in and get started. So my name is Krista Miller, and I'm the middle school principal at Metro Early College Middle School. That is the 6 through 8 part of Metro Early College High School here in Central Ohio. And we are, in fact, here to talk to you about how we partner with families to support learning at home or at-home learning through navigating technology. So I have been at Metro, I've been in education. This is year 15. So been in education for a little bit, and I am in year 7 as my principal, or as my year 7 as my tenure as a middle school principal, and this is actually my 12th year at Metro. So I am so happy to have an opportunity to just share with all of you some of the things that we've learned along the way. And props to you for being a part of an online seminar. I know I've done some this summer, and I know that the sitting is tough, but it's so wonderful to get the content. So welcome, and hopefully that this is really an educational and a beneficial half hour for you.
And I'm Tim Latta. I had to calculate today how long I've been in education. It's been 18 years. I didn't realize that, but it's been a quite long time that I've been doing school counseling, and so I really enjoy it. Working with young people is my passion, and so I ended up at the Metro School, and I've been enjoying it ever since. And wondering why it took me so long to get to middle school. I've been in middle school for the last, 7 years? I've been in middle school for 7 years, so I've been held back quite a bit, but I really enjoy being a part of Metro School.
All right, so we are going to jump right in. And one of the things that we really wanted you to do is throughout the presentation, feel free to use the chat box to send us your questions or ask us things that you would like to know more about, or send us feedback if you have that in real time as well. We would certainly love an opportunity to hear from you. We are going to try to talk today really about how we do our onboarding process for our families. We use a lot of Metro Tech applications, so specific tech applications we use in the building that we want families to be familiar with, and then also how to just build capacity to implement in the context of your district, school, or community. So those are really the primary focuses for today. Our agenda then, in context, we really want to talk to you about who we are. We think that it's important for people to understand who Metro is. We're just kind of a unique school that's situated here in Central Ohio. And then we're also going to talk to you about our onboarding process in terms of tech, our virtual engagement opportunities for families, and then in particular, one of the specific events that we do is called a tech boot camp. And so we thought that might be helpful for you to hear a little bit about as well. A couple of pieces of information just in general about Metro is we were the first STEM school in Ohio. And so we like to think of ourselves as a small school with a big footprint. We have opportunities to share the things we do with schools and communities from really all over the world. And so we're really, really grateful for that platform, and we're really invested in rethinking education and rethinking how we do school for students. And the other things that you should know just contextually right now, I think is really helpful. Shout out, we have a Metro School alum, class of 11 in the room. That's amazing. So that's fantastic. So we're so happy to see you here. So as we're talking through this, just a couple things that I think are also helpful for you to know. The school started in 2006. The middle school has been in existence. This is our 8th year in existence. So it opened a little bit after the high school. And like Mr. Latta said, he and I both transitioned to middle school relatively recently in our careers, I would say 7 or so years ago. And as we're doing school right now, just something important I think for everybody to know is that we are currently still all virtual. So a lot of Central Ohio has moved to positions where they're blended or hybrid with their schedules. We are still virtual, and we are running a blocked A-B schedule. So as we share our context, I think that's just something that's helpful for you to know as well. So as we jump in, Mr. Latta is going to talk a little bit more with you about who we are as a school.
So Metro is, we are comprised of primarily Central Ohio residents, students. 50% of our population comes from the largest school district in our area, which is Columbus City Schools. And we'll talk a little bit about a little bit more about that in the next slide. But as a STEM school, our state mandate, we're mandated by the state, and as a part of our original charter to have half of our students come from Columbus City Schools, which is great. And since we're right here smack dab in the middle of the city, and our academic performance is not a criteria for admission. Obviously, they have to pass the 5th grade to come to us, but there is no testing requirement for a student to attend Metro. Students don't have to pass a test or anything like that to attend our school or have a certain test score or things of that nature. We accept them right where they are, and we help them to grow academically right from where we find them in the 6th grade. And we educate many students with lots of different learning differences. Probably about 10% or so of our population has an IEP or a 504 plan, and they are able to grow and thrive in our challenging environment. So you can see this graph here. It shows where our students come from. We serve about 350 students. It's about split. We try to keep it around 50-50 half for gender. And we have students that come from 20 different districts. Over 50% always come from Columbus City, as I said before, and over 14 different languages are spoken at home. And so we have a very rich cultural difference here at Metro. And it makes for wonderful class discussions and wonderful celebrations as well. About 30% of our students are economically disadvantaged, which means they receive free or reduced lunch.
So some of the reason that we share that information with you is because we are a school of choice. We're not a neighborhood school. We really are bringing students together from all over Columbus. And so that means that not only do we have to spend a significant amount of time community building and really working to engage students effectively with each other, we also spend a lot of time kind of orienting students to Metro systems. And so there's a lot of other systems that we orient them around, like mastery and STEM learning and growth mindsets and lots of things like that. But in particular, one of the things that we spend a significant amount of time on is working with students to orient them around technology. So on my screen, you'll see we have, I would say these are probably the big 6 pieces of technology that we use in the building, our systems or applications. You know, realistically, I would say there's more, but these are really the ones that are really pivotal for us at this point in helping students really become successful and helping families engage with students and with us in meaningful ways to really support their education. So another piece of this that you should know is that we are one-to-one. So all of our students have, well, in the middle school, all of our students have a school issue iPad. So they come in, they pick it up, and they take it home with them. There's a case and a keyboard and all those things that go with it as well. And then in the high school, they have iPads or MacBooks. And so when we think about the things that we need families and students to know to be able to really do school effectively, one of those big things is what all of the applications are that we use. And so just kind of a quick overview and context is we use PowerSchool. I know a fair number of Central Ohio schools may use PowerSchool as well. PowerSchool is the system that we use for reporting to the state. It's our grades and our attendance. It's the system of record, fees, things like that. So we definitely want our parents to know how to, and our families to know how to log in and access that information. And then Adobe Connect is actually the virtual classroom platform that we use. So something that's a little a little unique about us is that I know a lot of schools use Zoom or use Google Classroom or Google Connect or maybe even the Schoology app. Interestingly, Metro has been doing virtual days for a long, long time. So we started virtual days back probably about 10 years ago. We would have students stay home in the month of January a couple of days a week and do school from home through the context of Adobe Connect. So bizarrely enough, when the pandemic hit, we were kind of uniquely positioned to transition to virtual days because we had an existing platform and context in place. That being said, it's really important for our families to know how to assist kids or students as they're working through this. So one of the things that we've seen already this year is that because we started virtually, that was atypical for us. We'd never done that before, as I'm sure a lot of you have done. Brand new and challenging things this fall semester. As we started that, one of the things that we really saw was that it's a steep learning curve for a sixth grader to figure out all these systems, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit more about how we actually onboarded the students as well as the adults, but it's been a growing experience for us as well. So we use Adobe Connect for virtual classrooms. Each teacher has a classroom. The students all have logins. They know how to log in and move through their classes, and so they're getting face-to-face instruction throughout the day virtually, but they're getting instruction in real time, synchronously, maybe is a better word to use. And then we also have that we use it for morning announcements. So we have morning announcements together with our students every morning at 7:45. And that's an opportunity to still work to build community and allow the students to engage with adults and know what's going on in a bigger picture sense than in the individuality of their classes. So we also use Securely. Securely is an internet safety monitoring software. This is really helpful. Not only do the students have an account, the parents have an account, and they can monitor their students, and the teachers have an admin have an account as well. So some of the really helpful things about Securely that we like are that there are keywords that you can set up that trigger notifications. So it would let us know if a family or if a student is potentially suicidal or has self-harm tendencies or thoughts, or maybe is bullying another student or is being bullied. So there are a lot of things like that that Securely does for us and that we use to monitor and reach out to families and continue to really have an open dialogue and work to improve student engagement. But then also to help, honestly, just help create better citizens, right? Help to inform better decision making in general. And then we also use, we're gonna come back to Jamf Parent in a little bit. Mr. Latta is gonna talk to you a little bit about that. So Schoology is our LMS. We post materials on there. We have grades and assignments and things like that we post on there. And then it reads back and forth to PowerSchool. So Schoology is another one of those tools that we think is really important for families to be aware of how to use and for parents to use too. And then the Google Suite is really the other big one. And that just really means our students all have their own Metro email address. They all have their own Google Drive account and folders. And so they use that information to do schoolwork in real time. And Mr. Latta is going to tell you a little bit more about Jamf Parent.
As a parent of two middle schoolers and one former middle schooler, it's a wonderful tool. It's to help with screen time for students that students are using after the school day is over. There's no more arguing and trying to take the device, trying to find a device. You simply just set the time on there, and it turns off when it's supposed to turn off, and you can use that from an app on the parent's phone with Jamf Parent. So I know I sound like a commercial, but it works pretty seamlessly.
So this is really the tech onboarding process, and Mr. Latta is going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so being a STEM school, we needed to onboard our students with the technology that they have in their possession, and that's during a regular year. I can't even talk. A regular year, and this year being with everyone being in virtual, it was even more so important. So we onboarded our students and our families several ways, but today we're just going to talk about just technology. But before COVID, we did it. And so since we had COVID, it's even more important. So we encourage our students and our parents to to engage with this technology, communicate through this technology, and build community through this technology. So for our students, we had our sixth graders actually come in for a day, and with social distancing and CDC protocols and all the things that you have to jump through, the hoops you have to jump through, and we did that so we can hand them their device, their iPad, and walk them through connecting it. This is, for many of our young people, this is their first time actually having their own device. It's the first time they have their own iPad for many of them. And so we walk them through how to handle this device, how to take care of it. We talked to them about how to log into their classes. This is the first time for many of them. They had to log into their classes. Some just had packets last year. Many of them had packets last year. And so now they are physically logging into a class. If they're having an issue, how to ask for help. You'll be surprised how many will just sit there and stare at their screen and not ask for help. And so we talked to them about how to ask for help with that technology, how to submit a help ticket with the tech team, how to access PowerSchool, Schoology, and how to contact their teachers. They think their teachers are just so far away, but no, their teachers are actually just a few clicks away. And so we talked to them about that. And we onboard our families the same way. We have videos and resources that we post to the school website, how-to videos, and we give them access to the same software that the students have access to, that is PowerSchool and Schoology. And we also have virtual office hours as well. So we have office hours for our students, so they can actually get a little bit extra one-on-one help with from their teachers. But we also have the same thing for families, family office hours, so that the parents can actually learn what the students are learning and be able to assist them. And so we engage families with that, as well as a face-to-face boot camp. It's what we typically did before COVID, but virtually this year we're doing a technology boot camp. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second.
All right. So I'm not going to go ahead and play the videos today, just because of time. I was hopeful that they would show up with the little screens so you could see kind of the background, but it looks like it's not going to do that for me.
They're wonderful black boxes.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Just imagine what's there.
Right. Oh, so what I wanted to just kind of add to that is that, in particular around family engagement opportunities, we have a lot of virtual things that we've been doing this year. So one of the things that Mr. Latta really identified is that in the past, we've had the benefit of being able to do these things face to face, right? Well, this year we couldn't, obviously we can't really do that. So we've been spending a lot of time really trying to think about how to build community in really meaningful ways, even though that community is having to be built virtually. So we're trying to do family engagement as well as student engagement virtually. And some of the ways that we've done that, we had a virtual new family admissions meeting in the spring where families came and met with us and heard from us, and we had Q&A, and we had lots of opportunities to share as much info as we could. We had an asynchronous family orientation. So that actually was a recorded video showing as much information as we possibly could and putting that in the hands of families before we started school to watch when they had time. Our PTSA meets monthly, and that is hosted by one of our PTSA members, but they meet virtually, and that's been a great opportunity to continue building community. And then, as Mr. Latta mentioned, the monthly virtual parent office hours or family office hours, that's really an opportunity for them to come and ask questions. The one thing I'll say is that there are kind of some layers embedded in this. We use virtual office hours in Adobe Connect, which is the same, or we do them in Adobe Connect, which is the same system that the students use. So that gives them an opportunity to work to learn and know the system that the students are using and have that experience as well. And then we have a Metro Schools app that we use, we push notifications on, and then we also have a technology boot camp. And in just a minute, Mr. Latta, we're gonna tell you a little bit more about that process. We are highly invested in really working to ensure student success in the classroom. So that looks like a lot of different things like engagement and voice and choice and, actively calling when students are not in where they're supposed to be. But we also hold a lot of virtual intervention meetings. So those meetings are not necessarily just for students with IEPs or 504s, not necessarily students with documented disabilities, also meetings to work with families around how to engage a student to do what they need to do, or how to help families think about how to set up spaces for students, or what are the smart strategies that we can use to problem solve behaviors or engagement or things like that. And we're also actively working, we're going to be facilitating, well, not facilitating, providing an asynchronous curriculum night so families have an opportunity to hear from and connect with teachers in ways that work on their own schedules. So we're really, really invested in trying to find ways to build community that are virtual right now. And I think everybody's actively working on that. We've had a virtual talent show last year. We're thinking about things like that we'll do maybe this fall as well, and find ways to engage families too. So one of the things that I'll say, I know Mr. Latta is going to talk about the Tech Bootcamp here in just a second, but as he's doing that, if anyone who's participating here has things that you've done in your home or school or district or community, and you think these have been great ways that you've had opportunities to experience interacting and engaging with schools, we would love to crowdsource. Certainly we are always, as all educators, stealing as many good ideas from other people as we can. So we would love to hear from you if you have good ideas about this. And then the other thing that I'll just say, kind of as we move into the Tech Bootcamp, this is something that has been born out of parent need or family need, as opposed to something that we've mandated. Because we have families coming from all over Central Ohio, and because we use a lot of tech systems in the school, we do rely on families to partner with us. And so a couple years ago, this is actually our 4th year of facilitating a Tech Bootcamp, and this year, for the first time, we had to do it virtually. But over the course of the past 4 years, what we've heard from families is that they want and need support getting into systems, understanding what the different systems do, understanding how they can use them to help their students succeed academically and engage effectively in classes. And so that's what this came out of. So Tech Bootcamp has really been the brainchild of kind of this collaboration between administration and teachers and our tech team and people who support students and families logging into all of the systems, so all the support personnel as well. So Mr. Latta is going to give you a little bit more information about that.
Just to give you a rundown on our Tech Bootcamp, we know that, and we figure we learned pretty quickly that a lot of parents are not tech savvy. A lot of parents are afraid of the technology, and they're afraid to try. But actually, with the Tech Bootcamp, we actually walk them through all the different apps and the different technologies that their students will be using, or their child will be using. So that way we can actually help families best support their children. We start the evening off by helping families to obtain just simply the username and passwords for PowerSchool, for Schoology, and for Securely. And we spend a whole hour working individually and in Adobe Connect and breakout groups or breakout rooms, and it was really a sight to behold. Doing it in this way, where we can actually securely give them their username and password just specifically to that parent, and help that person, help them log on, and actually sit there with them while they log into their PowerSchool, log into their Schoology, to help them to do that. Having somebody sit there with you while you trial and error, try to work through and save your password in there, it's invaluable. So we sit there with them for the first hour. So we help them to gain access. Once they have access, we start information sessions on and give them various tools they can use to check on their child's progress in PowerSchool and in Schoology. We walk through the whole process, and we walk through every feature there that is in PowerSchool and that is in Schoology, so that the families are able to check grades, contact teachers. We show them physically how to do that, how to check attendance and pay fees, and on and on and on, check assignments. We do all this through PowerSchool and Schoology on Adobe Connect. And so they're learning more than just about PowerSchool and Schoology. They're also learning about Adobe Connect, and they're learning what their children are going to be experiencing throughout the school year. We also walk them through Securely as well. We talk to parents about how to keep their children safe online. You would not let your child run back and forth across the freeway. Well, that's essentially what you're doing if you give them technology and no guidance. And so we talk to them about how the school helps to keep our students safe, and how families also can do the same thing and keep their child safe through securely. And we do that, and we have parents actually physically download the app while they're in our session, and we allow them to see real time what their children are accessing. They are also able to download that app, well, actually, if they don't, even if they don't download the app, every parent gets an email once a week that from securely telling them exactly what their child has been accessing for the last 7 days. So that helps as well. And then we give them some tools even in their own household. We give them some tools so that way they can change things on their own router at home as well, to help to keep their child safe as well. And then there's Jamf Parent, which is the equivalent to screen time. If you are familiar with screen time on iPhone, there's a screen time app. You can actually use screen time or Jamf Parent actually instead of screen time with the school iPad, and helps parents to control the amount of time that students are spending on their technology, and how they're being able to study without being interrupted, and limit distractions while they're in school. They can do that. You can even shut down the iPad without any I'm a parent, so without having to have any kind of power struggles or anything like that. Well, it's already set to this time, and you can have wonderful conversations with that. It actually is a good thing. It keeps the lines of communication open. The kid will actually tell you, this is how much time I think I need on the technology. So we encourage conversation, not just a dictatorship, I guess. But we encourage conversations with parents and students.
So we really wanted, we only have a couple minutes for questions, certainly, and so we apologize. I'm long-winded, and I know this about myself, so I'm sorry.
I am too.
But we do have our website address here on the screen. It's www.themetroschool.org, and lots of videos that we have created around this stuff we posted online, as well as lots of the PowerPoints that we use for our Google Slides for presentations we share online. And then our contact information is also listed here. If you have questions, we would be happy to, if you want to type in the chat box, or I know we have a moderator on the presentation as well that would be happy probably to turn on mics. I'm not exactly sure how you've been handling it, but at any rate, we really, really appreciate your time and attention today, and we're really grateful you came. We have found that this helps us build community, and I think it's really powerful as well to have just kind of the opportunity to help families know how to navigate the technology that we put in their students' hands, right? And help them to be informed as they're navigating this together.